at the end of the day, I definitely gotta play my part in boxing. Oh yeah, Muhammad Ali's birthday today. Yeah, happy birthday to Muhammad Ali, man. Happy birthday to Muhammad Ali. He's definitely my favorite boxer of all time. Not because they say he's the greatest and everything. I didn't know Muhammad Ali was the greatest until I seen one of his movies. Because usually I appreciate everybody coming through. Definitely don't want to crash out, you know, and get out of my character, but you know, you gotta let these people know that the type of passion I have for boxing is different from, and other people too as well. I know everybody loves boxing and everything, but you can do things in boxing without diminishing people's character or trying to tear everybody down. Everybody brings something to the sport of boxing. I learned that when I was watching Floyd and Pacquiao. That's when I started to learn. Well, actually, I learned that with Oscar De La Hoya, really. I think Oscar De La Hoya played a huge part as far as for me with boxing, to learn that, you know, when it comes to styles and jumping weights and everything, you know, you gotta learn how to give guys credit when credit's due. Did Oscar lose a lot of tough fights or big fights? Absolutely. Does that take away from the greatness that he had in the sport of boxing? No way. And I look at Canelo the same way. Canelo can have losses or whatever. I mean, Oscar lost to Bernard Hopkins, but people don't go out of their way to say, you know, Oscar lost to Bernard Hopkins. It's just not a thing, you know what I'm saying? Once you put yourself out there to, you know, when I was growing up, the guys who make themselves vulnerable and they sacrifice their livelihood, their health, their wealth, their family time for the sport of boxing. It's not a lot of guys who fight the best for, whether I say low prices or less money. Like the money that Turkey Al-Sheikh is handing out right now, especially when it comes to like Tyson Fury. He's got paid a boatload of money. I don't know the specific numbers, but the ones I've seen are high. So when you look at Canelo Alvarez, he definitely needs to be getting paid like that. I think the fact that Canelo's not getting paid as much as Fury right now is definitely ridiculous. Definitely ridiculous. I think Manny Pacquiao deserves, well, I know he got paid against Floyd, but the fact that he's still fighting at this point right now, it just shows his greatness, to be honest with you. Like, the man's still active. I definitely give him credit for bringing the sport back to where it needs to be. And I don't think he gets a lot of credit for the things he's done over the years, especially right now. Like the way people talk about these other boxers, and then another thing too, man, I just never heard of Manny Pacquiao being called a face of boxing in the sport. If we're talking about faces of boxing, oh no. Canelo, yeah, you can definitely call him face of boxing. But when it came to Floyd and Pacquiao, they weren't necessarily called the faces of boxing on the regular. Like the way I hear Tank and Canelo Alvarez referred to as the face of boxing, I didn't hear Manny Pacquiao referred to as the face of boxing like that growing up. I think he deserved that honor. He earned that. And he put himself on the line to make this sport better. That's why when people hear fans like me, because I'm still a fan, I'm not no guy who just think I'm high and mighty. I'm in the same position as everyone else. But when you hear fans like me talk about the sport of boxing and we want to see certain guys fight the best, y'all gotta understand, we never had to ask a boxer to fight the best. The fact that we gotta ask boxers to fight the best right now in this era of boxing, it's a huge step back. If people don't understand that, you ain't been watching boxing long enough then. And that's disrespectful to the guys who've been watching 30, 40 years. I don't like the fact that a lot of people pass away and they don't get an opportunity to see some of these fights. I know a lot of people that passed away before Floyd and Pacquiao fought. And people say, well, the fight could have, it would have been better if it was earlier or whatever. Man, that fight was huge when it happened. If you ever hear me think about building up a fight, I think even like 1% of me, that's probably why. When I seen when that happened, what that did for the sport of boxing, but then look where we're at now. We're taking so many steps backwards. It's like, look where we're at now. Even right now, Manny Pacquiao don't need to work with Turkey on the sheet to put together a fight. Man, 46 years old. He's had a conversation with everybody. He's had a conversation with a lot of people. And I seen some things last year. I don't know if people knew it, but Manny Pacquiao had picked Ryan Garcia to win last year against Devin Haney. If you go back and look at his, I don't know if his tweets are still up. Was it his tweets? I don't know if Manny Pacquiao's Twitter has said it. Manny Pacquiao was like, yeah, he gonna win tonight. I was like, what? I said, he thinks he's gonna win tonight? And he was planning on fighting him next. Let me see. Let me go ahead to the. I hope I can find it. He doesn't tweet that much. It looks like. He got some fire. He got some nice pictures though. Let me see. I want to say that was April, right? Now, a lot of people don't know this. This is before, I know it says April 21st, but people got to realize the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight didn't start until, I mean, not Ryan. Yeah, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. My mind all over the place. The Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight didn't start till, I don't know, like 1 a.m. Yeah, this fight wasn't started yet. I seen Manny Pacquiao put this out and I was like, man. Well, where the other tweet at? It's not on there no more. Where is it at? It's not on there no more. But yeah, Manny Pacquiao had dropped a thing where he was like, yeah, I'm gonna fight Ryan Garcia next. I was like, what? And this was like before the Devin Haney fight had started. I was like, dang, Manny Pacquiao picking Ryan Garcia. And then look, the fight started like probably 20 minutes after this tweet went out. But this is what Manny Pacquiao had put up. Maybe he knows something I don't know. But it's kind of funny how Canelo was looking at Ryan Garcia like, nah, he ain't gonna get it done. You gotta realize, that's why it's funny when people pick certain fights. You definitely gotta look at certain guys. And I'm gonna say this too, this is not something I'm just trying to stick to race or whatever. But like Asian fighters like Zhang, Alto Inoue, and Pacquiao, they know how to pick some fights. Those guys, they know how to pick some fights. I'll say Inoue knows how to break down fighters well, but those guys know how to pick some fights. I've seen that already. Maybe not their own fights, but other people's fights. It's something about that. Those guys definitely know how to scout. That's one thing I've seen about from Zhilei Zhang. He knows how to break down a fight very well. Dude's elite when it comes to that. Pacquiao as well. But I was looking at a lot of things, and I know Manny Pacquiao jumped a lot of weight classes, and that's not the reason why I was comparing him to Canelo in the first place. The real reason I was doing this in the first place was, you know, Canelo just fights at a high level all the time, and I felt like people were talking as if the level that Canelo was fighting at was just so unreachable. The things he was doing, they were trying to make it seem like, well, you know, if he's fighting at this level, he's doing enough. And I didn't feel like that in his career. I didn't feel like Canelo is doing enough. You got to understand, by the time Pacquiao fought Marquez, probably the first time, you know, you could have easily said, man, he's doing enough. By the time he fought Bradley, you could have been said, hey, he's done enough in his career. Manny Pacquiao, he can do. And what's crazy is, I haven't heard nobody say Manny Pacquiao can do whatever he wants. Has anybody said that? I mean, maybe I'll pull a poll up. Maybe I have some people answer it, come in. Maybe I don't. I'll put it up though. Have you ever heard fans and media say Pacquiao can do what he wants? Yes or no? That'll be the first thing I go down. And thank you for everybody who hit the like button last video. I definitely did not want to be profane like that. I apologize. I really do. That's not the impression I want to leave. But sometimes people think you a punk out here, and they don't take you serious. And I don't, especially when it comes to boxing. I don't know why it's taking that serious at this point, but I'm just wondering, have anybody ever heard that people say Manny Pacquiao can do whatever he wants in his career? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I had picked Floyd to beat Pacquiao. I know my best friend, RP Marquise. You know I love you, dog. He had picked Pacquiao, and he's a black guy, and he thought that Pacquiao was gonna wash Mayweather. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. I was so scared. What's up, Alder Pal? What's going on, man? You doing all right? Nice to see you, man. Thanks for the support, bro. Thanks for the love and support, man. Appreciate everything you do, man. And he fought the best, man. Even when Pacquiao was fighting Jeff Horn, I was like, man, come on. I was like, this dude is Pacquiao, please, bro. Not to say that I didn't think he was good at that level. I was like, man, this dude is still fighting. And Pacquiao was like the B-side in that fight. You know what I'm saying? If I have any regrets, I feel like I should have gave him a lot more praise and respect in his career. I didn't get into the thing where I was like back and forth like he's trash or whatever. Because even when he got stopped by Marquez, yeah, I know, man. And you know what's crazy, Al? Man, Oscar don't get no respect for what he did with Canelo. What Oscar did with Canelo, I never seen him actually do with any fighters before. Because, you know, Canelo was aggressive trying to get that Mayweather fight. And for Canelo to say, nah, I want to fight Mayweather. And for Oscar to be a guy who just fought Mayweather, it's like, you look back at it, you like, that was a very arrogant decision by Canelo. And for him to be tiptoeing to this Crawford fight, well, I will give Canelo credit for this. Canelo did say that Crawford was a great fighter, and he did say he wanted to fight him. I think a lot of people got in his ear because they didn't expect that question to be asked at that time when he was fighting Charlo. Whatever media member said that, he did a good job because nobody was thinking about it at the time. I think I was thinking about it over the years. I knew Crawford was that good. I was thinking about it when people were mentioning Earl Spence. Let me see what Al said. Back then, you had to beat the best to rise to a star to beat the hottest guy in the game. Mayweather got more famous after fighting Oscar. How stars are born, then taking out the best. Yeah, and you know what? Another thing you made a good point, Al. Mayweather and Pacquiao had to talk. They had to take the long route. Pacquiao fighting De La Hoya made him famous too. That's why I give Oscar De La Hoya. And this is I'm glad you said that, Al. I'm glad Al said that. Al just made a perfect point. Al just made all the points Al just made is perfect. Because fans do not understand this. Just because Oscar De La Hoya lost to Mayweather and Pacquiao, and people got to understand, I watched Mayweather's whole career. And I was a guy who was a kid when I was watching Mike Tyson, but I still understood how good Mayweather was. He wasn't knocking a lot of guys out, but he was very aggressive. But even though Oscar lost to Pacquiao and Mayweather, nobody cares. Like, that's what people gotta understand. Nobody cares. You don't ever hear fans say, Oscar lost to Pacquiao and Mayweather. He's trash. You never hear that because people actually know boxing. That's why when people try to act like they don't know, when they say, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. All right. So you know that even though Oscar lost to Pacquiao and Mayweather, he's not trash, but you're not gonna give these other guys credit. Like, come on now. Like, Oscar is the standard. People don't understand that. I don't compare fighters to Mayweather, even though he's possibly one of my favorites all time. I think if I had to really look back, you know, I like Ali, not because he's the greatest, but because Ali was, I don't know, just the things Ali was doing in the ring, bro. Like I heard recently with Mike Tyson was saying, he said, man, Ali never threw a body punch. And today is birthday. Happy birthday to Muhammad Ali. Definitely did a lot for the sport. A lot of people feel like he's the greatest. Even like guys like Bitterbill, they still feel like Ali's the greatest. He never took an easy fight. Even though even when I was a kid, I seen the old fights for Ali, and when he started fighting, you know, down south, I forgot who the white guy was. He fought in Georgia. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. But when he was fighting those type of fights, a lot of people felt like he was doing way too much. They were like, whoa. And even then, I was like, man. So by this time, Ali got out the military. Well, he wasn't in the military. He had already sat out a whole bunch of years. But I was like, man, he's putting a lot on the line. Then he fought Foreman. Just was putting a lot on the line at that old age. He took a long layoff, very long. But I think Canelo don't understand, like, the 90s was made off of guys like Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins, and Oscar just fighting. You know, a lot of people pay attention to the losses that probably guys like Roy Jones had or whatever. But man, when I look at Oscar De La Hoya, he's kind of the standard, man, when it comes to boxing. The dude fights whoever. A lot of guys these days, you can look, I'm gonna give y'all an example. You can say that, yeah, I've been kind of leaning towards that for Al. Yeah, Al, I told you, man, like, a lot of people don't understand it, man. I don't know Tank personally. I'm not his cousin. I'm not on his team. But I know how he moves. You know what I'm saying? I know how he moves. And a lot of people starting to see it. They think that people dislike Tank because of his talent. Man, Tank is an amazing boxer. Tank is an amazing boxer. But when you look at all the fighters he's fought, they're not really competitive against other fighters. The only thing that really saved Tank's resume right now is Ryan Garcia doing what he did against I don't know who Rolly's fighting. You gotta tell, hey, who's Rolly fighting? I like Rolly last performance. I like Rolly last performance. I feel like he's actually trying to improve. The thing that messed Rolly up was he was thrown in the Tank Davis fight too fast. Cause Rolly started boxing late too, like Wilder and Joshua. Rolly started boxing late. I don't think it was that late, but Rolly started boxing late. Cause you know he's still young. Yeah, I don't think Rolly's been boxing, but like, peace. yeah. He hasn't been boxing that long. Rolly needs to fight some lower tier opponents right now, which he's doing. But I think he was forced in the fight with Tank way too fast. What's up, Jay? But like Oscar's the standard for me when it comes to boxing. Like Oscar fought everybody. If you look at Oscar right now, you can kind of compare him to what Canelo is right now, and you can go kind of compare Crawford to what Floyd Mayweather was by the time. Floyd was not a big name. Oh, he started boxing at 17, 18? Yeah, that sounded about right. I don't know why I was thinking like 13. I wanted to say 17, 18. Then I was thinking 13. I don't know why. Yeah, Rolly's he's a late bloomer. That's why when Tank picked that fight with him, that's why Al's kind of looking at it like. But let me read what Al said. He said, starting to dislike Tank, he's turning to Canelo, acting like, yeah, I told you. I put some lives up last year. I don't know if y'all want to go through the lives, but Al, I put some lives up last year when I said Tank learned from Canelo. And to be honest with you, they kind of touchy-feely with these guys because they kind of too touchy-feely with these guys because and it's just me personally, this is the evidence I got. This is just the news I got. It's not me throwing anything out there. From what I've heard, Tank and Canelo don't pick their own fights. They don't even pick their own fights. They can they'll say, hey, I'm not fighting that guy. They can do that, but as far as going in there and picking certain fights, they're not doing that. So if they go work with Turkey Al Sheik right now, that'll be the first time they actually pick the fight. He said, do you know the guy that checks BoxRec and talks about suspicious career? Oscar actually has a good resume from start. Like if you check out his rivals record. Yeah, Oscar got a resume. Yeah, those Mexican fighters in the 90s and 2000s, yeah. Just about every Mexican fighter you seen from the 90s and 2000s was getting it done. Marquez, Barrera, all those guys was in the same era with Pacquiao. They took some beatings from Eric Morales. All those guys took some beatings, but they fought everybody. Fought Floyd. Everybody fought everybody at a low price. He said, you think Saudi doing big fights is making PBC a little jealous? Yeah. They making them a little jealous. They see that money coming out. But you know the PBC guys already been getting paid more than these DAZN guys. So they're a little more comfortable. These guys on DAZN and on Golden Boy, you know, guys like Virgil Ortiz, he's ready to fight. You know, he wants to be in the spotlight and get his credit as far as in the boxing game. So guys that's with like Matchroom, Shakur Stevenson, a lot of guys leaving Top Rank. They want to get big fights. I think Top Rank has a little more problem of keeping guys right now, because you see how Teofimo is doing. Teofimo is doing what a lot of other guys are doing, but they're not saying it out loud. Yeah, Oscar was doing. He had some big fights, man. Oscar did not have to fight Manny Pacquiao or Floyd. If you look back at that, that's something that, no disrespect, but when Canelo was at 47, he could have fought Pacquiao and Floyd back to back. Let's be honest. He fought Mayweather before Pacquiao did. I want to say he fought Mayweather before he fought Bradley. if I'm not mistaken. I don't know his resume by heart like that, but I have some ideas because I was around that time. So I know who he fought in order. Somewhat. Yeah, he fought Tim Bradley after he fought Mayweather. But he also fought Tim Bradley before he fought Mayweather twice. So I think Canelo could have had a fight with Pacquiao. I don't want to throw anything out there. He said Tank and Canelo, yeah, they like each other. I seen Tank backstage with him. He said not a lot of height job. Not like height job. He said not like lots of height jobs that they say they the next great or star and got like 17-0 record and yeah, I know. Yeah, Oscar had some, bro. When Oscar fought Bernard Hopkins, I was like, whoa. I was like, Oscar fighting everybody, ain't it? Man, Oscar fought Bernard Hopkins, then turned around and fought Floyd and Pacquiao in their prime. So maybe I'm a little spoiled. Yeah, Benavidez and Bivol. I don't know, man. We gotta see what's happening with Benavidez. It might be Bivol and Morrell. That can happen. It could be Morrell and Bivol, but I'm leaning towards Benavidez. But I'm not gonna count out. I don't know. I ain't see the last gloves off thing. I gotta see. I didn't see the last one. I'm actually gonna click on their little not website, but the channel, and go through and see what they got going on. I seen Prime got a channel they haven't been really promoting like that. I don't remember watching one for Tank. I don't know if they did one for the Tank fight. I gotta see. They're doing it for kind of early to the fight too. It's kind of close. I mean, they would do it 2 weeks early, so it makes sense. Yeah, 2 weeks early, so it makes sense. Kind of like 24/7. It makes sense. It would have been nicer if they probably would have did it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. But hopefully, they do it for Tank when it gets in the middle of February. But it's gonna be so hard to promote that fight for Tank in February because Turkey Al-Sheikh got that big card coming up. Even though I like watching Tank and watching the stuff he does as far as the media and the build up. He said, yeah, Oscar, yeah. I thought that fight was happening when Oscar put that up there. I'm like, hold on, Bivol and Benavidez for the fight. Yeah, I thought that fight was actually gonna happen instead of Morrell and Benavidez, but you know the boxing game is wild right now. He said, yeah, fighting guys are 5-13. Yeah, that's catching up to guys, Al. 5-13, 3-7, 12-23. It helps some guys because you know a lot of guys they try to have quick fights early so they can get adjusted. So that snow guys. Yeah, they get it done. Yeah, PBC fighters get it done. You know, they had that big month. I think this month for February is gonna be the biggest. You know, you can kind of count the Tank Davis fight for February because it's March 1st. February doesn't have 31 days in a month. So you can kind of count March 1st as February. But I think this is the biggest month since Inoue fought Fulton and Crawford fought Spence. PBC did a lot then. Then they put Charlo in the ring with Canelo. So yeah, we finally got fight cards that's catching up to what PBC was doing. I like the fight card that Tim Tszyu and Fedor had last year. Wasn't a lot of big names, but I like what Boychuk done. You gotta think about it. I think Boychuk was like the first. He was like the first fight on that card last year with him and Mendoza on that Fedor card. That was a loaded card. So I like what PBC did last year, but only a couple of fights. Like, man, what are you doing? Yeah, I know. Yeah, Canelo, he was young. It was early, but the competition was definitely not there. But he definitely came over here and hit the ground running though. But yeah, he was definitely fighting some no-names for a while. I think the thing that helped Canelo out was fighting Triple G. That took a lot of weight off of him. But when you look back, I don't know, man. They say that somebody tried to offer to fight with him and Pacquiao. I don't know if it was his side or Pacquiao's side. If I had to take a guess, I would probably say it was Pacquiao's side. Because if you're Canelo, you just fought Floyd, probably don't want to get in there with Pacquiao. Around that time, Pacquiao was, you can ask Tim Bradley. He fought Pacquiao around that time. Pacquiao was beating the brakes off of guys. Yeah, he did. Yeah, a lot of guys in Mexico got some tough fighters though. But it was a lot of dirt guys. It wasn't the guys that's fighting now. The Mexicans that's fighting now, like the guys who was on, it was a couple of upsets last year with Mexican fighters, like Espinoza. When he came over, that was his first American fight, Rafael Espinoza. The guy who beat Roman Villa, he had like one loss. And a couple of other guys, I can't remember, they had some upsets. But it was the guy who fought Stephen Fulton. I think he had 1 or 2 losses. These were all Mexican fighters. I was like, man, these guys are gonna beat the crap out of these guys. I was telling people, I said, this guy Stephen Fulton's fighting, he's a real deal. He got 2 losses, but those are the guys that's dangerous. You don't want to fight a Mexican fighter who only has like 1 or 2 losses and 30 wins. Definitely a setup. Yeah, any of them top guys can lose and win. Any of them. But I think this year is going to catch a lot of people off guard because, you know, me personally, I feel like Joshua, when he fought Dubois last year, the fights he had prior to that, like Ottawa Lin and Ngannou, those aren't guys that just come at you and throw hands at you. Those guys definitely aren't like that. Even when Tim Tszyu fought Baccarin, you got to fight a certain style to be ready to fight these next guys. And a lot of guys get caught off guard, they get slept just because they try to be too aggressive. You know, it's hard to fight middle of the road type of guys and then go in there and try to fight a world beater. It's not gonna happen. You said if Canelo beats Bud, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I was thinking about that. I'm like, I don't know who Canelo could fight after he fights Bud. I have no clue. The way 168 is looking right now, he might fight Pacheco if Pacheco's around. He could fight Diego Pacheco if Pacheco wins next week. That's a fight they're trying to put together. Pacheco was supposed to fight in September against Canelo. They've been planning that fight for like 2 years. So it's supposed to be Diego Pacheco. Yeah, Jake Paul and Canelo Jake Paul don't want to fight Canelo. He ain't stupid. Canelo beat the brakes off Jake Paul. I would love to see it too. Jake Paul, he needs to do it because he outweighs Canelo like, I don't know, Jake Paul's 225. Jake Paul's a big dude. I seen that video where he was running, jogging before the Mike Tyson fight. Man, he's a huge guy. Jake Paul is a very big guy. So I definitely think Canelo beat the brakes out. Canelo wants to fight Jake Paul though. So I can see Turkey Al-Sheikh doing that from what I've seen. But Turkey Al-Sheikh said he don't want to put together exhibition type of fights. You know, Turkey Al-Sheikh sound like a real fan right now of boxing. He's like, I ain't doing these exhibition fights. But you did an Ngannou fight though, so I don't understand that. So I don't, you know, he did the Ngannou fight, so I'm kind of like, I understand what you're saying, but still fought Ngannou. But when Canelo hangs it up, I would definitely like for him to at least have his resume close to what Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao is. He's gonna have a higher winning percentage, but the difficulty as far as fighting these guys, the level of opponents, it's gonna be tough, man. It's definitely gonna be tough. That's why I was doing that video last night with when Jay was in here about Morrell. because I don't know if Morrell lose to Benavidez and it's close. Will Canelo look at that fight and say, "Hey, maybe I go up there and fight him"? Because the guys is at 168 right now, or maybe he fights the Billy. I don't think he's gonna entertain Munguia again. He kind of shot that rematch down after he lost the last fight. Now I'm gonna throw one out there for y'all. This is a fight I guarantee Canelo will take. Canelo goes out there and he if Munguia loses to that guy again, I guarantee that's who Canelo's gonna fight. I promise you. Yeah, it would be funny. It'll be hilarious he fight him. It would be funny. It'll be hilarious. It's possible. I only see a big possibility for that to happen if Munguia probably wins his next fight against the Bruno guy. But if he loses again, I think Canelo takes that fight. And then I think Canelo walks straight into possibly a Jake Paul fight. Because I don't know, Jake Paul, he doesn't look like he's getting better at this point. I think he might be slowing down. I didn't like his last 3 or 4 fights he had. I think the Tommy Fury fight was definitely eye-opening for me. He got exposed in that fight a lot. He said, I don't think Turkey likes the Benavidez and Canelo fight due to Benavidez is with PBC. PBC needs. PBC is working with Turkey. You know, PBC already had Rayo. They had Andy Ruiz. They also had Pitbull. Yeah, they had a lot of those guys. Yeah, they still have they had a lot of guys from PBC still joining some fights. PBC is definitely still gonna be involved with Turkey. Right now, PBC is not getting involved with Turkey because there's not enough spots right now on the cards that Turkey's putting together. If he was putting together the cards with like PBC, whether it's Tank or Benavidez, a lot of these fights like Virgil Ortiz and Madrimov and you know the guys that Golden Boy has and Eddie Hearn, it won't work. So I think either later this year, probably the end of this year or beginning of next year, we're gonna see PBC turn it up. I'm hearing right now that PBC is gonna be ending the Amazon Prime thing in May, June. That sounds about right. Especially after everybody seeing how Netflix was. Netflix was a lot better than what Amazon Prime did. Amazon Prime looks a little cheap right now. The way they're putting the fights together. They look a little cheap right now. Cause Netflix, they only did one sporting event. And we seen the fights with on the Mike Tyson card. It was like they went straight to the next fight, straight to the next fight. And if you notice, Turkey Al-Sheikh, when he did the Fury and Usyk fight, he was going straight into the next fight. No commercial breaks. He's just going straight into the next fight. And I was like, you know what? He's doing that because he sat back and seen that Netflix did a better job than his last 2 fights. As far as the way they were moving the fights along, it wasn't a lot of waiting going on. I couldn't even talk in between the fights because they were starting the next fight. So I think Netflix is going to be able, if Netflix is going to stick into boxing, you know, they might do some other things, but I think Amazon is out of it. And I don't think Netflix wants to deal with PBC, so they're definitely going to be doing a lot of fights soon. Everybody going to be on the zone. ESPN's getting out of the game. They're not going to be around long. I can kind of tell that ESPN was going to give up on boxing the way they were doing the ESPN Plus stuff. It was so hard to find the fights on there. I was like, they don't care about boxing. Al Pal said Canelo's a liar, everything. He's against he lies like when he said he don't fight Mexican, then fights Superior. And I'm gonna tell you the worst part about that, Al. He was on TV in Mexico, and he had a lot of guys who was reporting Mexican fighting and stuff down there. And the Mexican reporters was asking him, "Who are you gonna fight next?" And he said, "American." And everybody in my comment section was like, "So Mexico is part of America," and we were all saying, "Is Munguia American?" And I was like, I think Munguia is technically American because he's, you know, Mexico is North America. I said, I think Canelo's being funny. And he said, "I'm fighting an American next." You can Google it. He said it. And he ended up fighting Munguia. That fight was planned like 6 or 7 months ahead though. Benavidez was actually gonna fight Morrell. I'm gonna tell you how crazy boxing is. Benavidez was gonna fight Morrell last year, around July or August. Not last year, 2023. Around the time Canelo was fighting Charlo, they was talking about Morrell versus Benavidez then. Then Munguia was talking to Benavidez, and Benavidez said, "Oh, I want to fight Munguia. He's a champion and everything." You know, he already been a champion at 160 and everything. He's already been a champion before. So he was like, "That's a bigger name. I'm gonna fight Munguia." Then Canelo calls Munguia and says, "Do you want to fight?" And Munguia's like, "Yeah." So Canelo's like, "Yeah, I'll fight you." This is like September, October. So when January comes around, Canelo's like, "Yeah, just wait until May and I'll fight you." Munguia's like, "Nah, that's too long. I want to fight somebody." So Munguia goes out of his way to fight John Ryder. He could have got knocked out in that fight. You know, he was taking a risk. He could have just waited on Canelo. But he went and stopped John Ryder. And he went on to fight Canelo. So Canelo technically waited on Munguia. And Benavidez went ahead and fought Andre. So Benavidez tried to fight Munguia and Morrell, and Canelo came through and messed both of those fights up. If Canelo would have said he's fighting Munguia when Morrell was planning on fighting Benavidez, that fight would have happened 2 years ago. Yeah, that's crazy. And he's an American too. And like I said, Morrell's the same size as him and everything. And Canelo also, bro, like he's fought Bivol. Bivol's like the same size as Benavidez. He's not a small guy, so for Canelo to go up and fight that guy 75 and then to turn around and be like, "Nah, I'm not fighting Benavidez. He's too big." So for me, just me personally, if Canelo says that Benavidez is too big, he cannot fight any more 175s. According to his rules. That's the rule he's been putting out. He don't want nobody to ask him about big fighters no more. So he better stay at 168. They probably could slide Janovic in there. I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. 160 is getting kind of crowded right now. He said David Big, well, he'll go down to be bigger than Crawford. I didn't like the Charlo thing situation. And the Crawford situation just, yeah, it's so obvious. And has fought bigger guys. And pretty sure he'll fight Jake Paul. He said he'll fight Crawford and Jake Paul. I think he said he will fight Crawford first. And then last year he said he'll fight Jake Paul. It's because Bud like a cash cow to Turkey that like his guy. That's like Oscar guy Ryan and was Canelo. Yeah, that's what Oscar trying to do with because Oscar, I'll give Oscar credit. He fed a lot of his fighters to the boxing game last year. He had Zerto. He made Zerto take a tough fight. He made Ryan take a tough fight. Well, he didn't make Ryan take a tough fight. Ryan took a tough fight. And Virgil Ortiz took a tough fight last year. So most of Oscar's fighters took tough fights except for, I mean, Zepeda took a tough fight against Farmer, but it wasn't like a Tank Davis or something. Tank Davis was trying to fight Zepeda last January and he turned it down. And then that's what Frank Martin had called Oscar De La Hoya out, and he was like, "I'll fight Zepeda." And that's when Oscar De La Hoya said, "If you beat Shakur Stevenson, I'll let you get Zepeda." And Frank Martin was like, "Nah, I'll just fight Tank." So the only reason Frank Martin actually fought Tank is because Zepeda turned the fight down. And that's the honest truth. I don't think Tank had any stipulations on Zepeda either. He did put a clause. I think he put a clause on Teofimo. I think he put a rehydration clause on Teofimo after Teofimo went to 140. He put a rehydration clause on him at 135. I said that fight's not gonna happen. Then he didn't want to pay him a certain amount of money. Like Lamont Roach, he's not getting paid a lot right now. When you fight guys like Ryan, Oscar, Canelo, Tank, not really getting paid. You're not really getting paid to fight Tank like you are to fight Canelo. That's why when people say he's the face of boxing, they got to start paying the fighters he fights like they're the face of boxing. Like Berlanga and Canelo made a boatload of money. And they both fought on technically a PBC card. But guys like Lamont Roach, I want to say Eastside Cruz, Frank Martin, they're not getting paid like the guys who fight Canelo. He said, imagine Canelo gets robbed. That would be crazy. Hey, if he goes out there and get robbed, that would be wild. Canelo will lose it. Canelo will lose it. That'll be the first time I see Canelo get out of character. He'll start throwing belts and stuff. But I think it'll be a good fight. Canelo's still gonna get the respect, man. A lot of people don't understand that Canelo's like a lot of guys like Oscar. Oscar lost to a lot of big time fighters, but we didn't know they were good until we knew they were good, but we didn't know how good they were. Like Floyd became a household name after he fought Oscar. He needed Oscar more than anybody. Once he fought Oscar, he was out of here. I seen the fight that Floyd fought before that, the Arturo Gotti fight. Nobody really knew who Floyd was when he fought Gotti. That fight was not on pay-per-view, I don't think. I know it was on HBO or something like that, and it was free by the next week. They were showing it for free, so. Yeah, Berlanga was like 203 or something like that, 205. And they wanted to say Berlanga was 193. He wasn't 193, he was like 203. He definitely was. I don't know how I got that weight, but it was actually put out by somebody close that he was 203. I didn't realize how big Berlanga actually was until he was standing in front of Morrell. You remember when him and Morrell was facing off at the Canelo and Munguia press conference? I was like, man, Berlanga's huge. I was like, whoa, Canelo thinking about fighting him? Yeah, Callum Smith was big too. I didn't know Rocky Fielding was that tall. Yeah, he put a rehydration clause on Rocky Fielding. Yeah, Chavez Jr. is huge. Chavez Jr. is like, right now, he's probably like Jake Paul size. He probably doesn't weigh that much, but Chavez Jr. is a big guy. You're right. Chavez Jr. is huge. He could fight Jake Paul. That would be a good fight. That would be a hard fight for Jake Paul. I know Chavez Jr. ain't that good, but Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury, so I know Chavez Jr. would give him a hard fight. Yeah, he might get robbed, man. He said he deserved to get robbed. Yeah, the way he fights too, his style. You know, Canelo definitely will get outpunched in that fight. I don't know if the damage. I can see those guys coming out with not a lot of damage. It could probably go like the Madrimov fight. I can see Canelo going in there and doing what Madrimov did, or a little bit better. Depends on how he looks in his next fight. We never know. Canelo can go out in his next fight and look older. He looked older against Munguia in my eyes. I noticed that Canelo's jabbing more. The fact that Canelo's actually jabbing and moving, that lets you know that he's slowing down a little bit. He's still knocking guys down, but he's jabbing a lot more now. Yeah, Benavidez was taking, bro, Benavidez was like, I'll fight you for free almost. Yeah, I was surprised that Benavidez took that less, like 5 million. He was ready to go fighting for free, basically. I'm like, oh man. I know it's still millions of dollars, but Not compared to what Munguia and Berlanga just got. Those guys got like 12 million, 15 or something. I think Berlanga probably made more than Munguia did. Yeah, he the money man. They're gonna go with the money man. Canelo's worth too much. He has too many fights you can put with him. Crawford talking about that's the last fight. So Crawford fighting Canelo, that's gonna be his last fight. So Canelo, he's definitely gonna get favored. If it's close, it's gonna go to him. That's why Crawford gonna have to go in there and get it. He's gonna have to drop Canelo. He's gonna have to be the first one. He's gonna have to let his hands go. Gonna have to take some shots. He might have to get dropped in order to try to get that knockout. He's gonna have to be the first one to drop Canelo though, to give himself a chance. He has to. But in my eyes, I can see the fight going like a Mazramov and Crawford. But I think Canelo can dominate. But I'm leaning towards Crawford. I've been leaning towards Crawford for a long time. I've been hearing a lot of people say it, so me saying it right now sounds ridiculous because I've seen so many people say they picking Crawford. I'm like, man, I thought you guys said he lost his last fight. Yeah, karma for that Triple G situation. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Triple G in that situation because, the dude, even though he got paid well, he made like $100 million off Canelo. But after getting robbed in the Olympics, and then a lot of people feel like he got robbed in the pros. Yeah, I definitely feel bad for the way he went out. But Canelo went up in weight, and that was really the only big opportunity that Triple G had besides Danny Jacobs. And you can throw Derevyanchenko out there too. And Murata too. I think that Murata and Triple G fight was on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken. Not in the United States, but I think it was on Amazon Prime in Japan. So Triple G he ended his career basically with a high payday and a lot of fans. He got a lot of Japanese fans off that fight. He said, funny thing about Canelo, he says payday, but Mayweather was his payday. And Mayweather was a big payday. Was you on here hey, Al, was you on that live? I don't know what live that was. Was you on that live when I pulled up Canelo's payday? Like all the fights when he was getting paid? Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Man, that was hard to find. I don't know why I ain't saved that. They had a list of Canelo's purses in his career. I think it's Canelo career purses. Is this it? Come on, man. Let this be it, please. This is not it. Dang. Yeah, they're gonna do me bad. That's not it. Canelo has a list they had up. Of the oh my God, he was getting paid in these fights. He didn't make that much against Charlo. It's not this list, but I haven't seen this one yet, so I'll put this one up here. I haven't seen this one. This is not the one. I can't believe he got 35 for Berlanga. Canelo been getting paid, man. Yeah, if Bud beats Canelo, it's a wrap. I don't know. Yeah, he will. He'll be looked at as the best. But if Usyk goes down there and, man, if Usyk goes out there and beats Dubois and go down to cruiserweight again and cleans out cruiserweight, it might be a wrap. The way Turkey's doing it right now, Turkey might slide Usyk back into the cruiserweight division after this next fight. The next fight for Usyk is going to be Dubois and Parker. The winner of that fight, if he can do that. But yeah, Bud beating Canelo that's all-time great right there. You can't deny that. He beat Canelo. It's over. I can't deny that. Nobody can. No, they said he got 12 million. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up, Al. That's what I'm saying. He got 12 million. Let me see if I can pull it up. Dang, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up. He had got 12 million. I don't know why I can't find it. I seen it. Canelo had like 2 million the fight before that. I want to see with like Josecito Lopez or somebody. I forgot who it was. Man, that was one of the best lists I ever seen. Yeah, he had a nice list for purses. I was like, whoa, he went from 2 to 12. I was like, Canelo is really picking a lot of these fights. Yeah, they're not gonna show it. I forgot where the list was. Yeah, that was one of the best lists I've seen when it comes to showing Canelo's purse. Yeah, he had made like 12 million. I don't know why it's hard to find now. Yeah, he had went from like 2 million. I'll just go to the Floyd one. Let me see. They say Floyd made 40, then they say he made 80. They offered Canelo, they say he turned down 1 million. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And thank you. Here we go. This ain't the one I found, but I found one close to it. Let me grab this real quick for you guys. So I'm right. It was Josecito Lopez before Floyd, and it was 2 million. Here you guys go. It's a good one. This is accurate right here. So for Shane Mosley, he only had 1.2 million. And then Josecito Lopez, he had 2 million. Then he fought Floyd for 12. Cotto for 5. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think that Cotto fight possibly could have been Pacquiao. I need to see what year that was. I think that Cotto fight was possibly for Pacquiao. I mean, it could have been Pacquiao. I gotta see what year that was. Pacquiao tried to make a fight with Canelo. I guess he wanted to beat the brakes. You know, Pacquiao around that time, he was fighting everybody Mayweather was fighting. Yeah, it was 2014. 2014. They wanted yeah, Mosley was the name. Yeah, Mosley was still getting it done. Yeah, for him to get 1.2 against Mosley, I was like, oh, okay. That's still a lot of money back then. Let's be real. Canelo wasn't a huge name around that time. That was still a lot of money. Yeah, I'm surprised he got more with Josecito than he did against Mosley. I guess because he won the fight. But man, by the time he got to that Golovkin fight, I can't believe he got 25 million for Amir Khan. Was that on the Zone? I can't remember. Was that fight on the Zone? Or that was right before the Zone? 2018? I think Rocky Fielding was on the zone. Maybe Golovkin. The second Golovkin fight, was it on the zone? No, it was on HBO. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, nah, that wasn't on the zone. So the second Golovkin fight was on the zone. I mean, on HBO. Then I think this, yeah. Then the Rocky Fielding fight was on the zone. So that was the first fight between Canelo and Rocky Fielding was on the zone. You said no, the zone was before? It say HBO pay-per-view for Golovkin, the second fight. Did they have 2 fights on the zone? I don't know why I said HBO pay-per-view. Yeah, Mosley was 40 years old. He wasn't the same Mosley that Pacquiao had. Man, when Pacquiao beat Mosley up, he beat the brakes off of Mosley. That was the worst beating I ever seen. That was the worst beating I ever seen. I was like, man, why Mosley just won't go down? Oh yeah, the sponsor pay you for a patch. Yeah, he was getting paid. Yeah, shout out to Oscar De La Coca, man. Yeah, he was getting the brakes beat off of him. I can't believe he got paid more for the first Golovkin fight than he did the second one. Oh, you know why he didn't get paid that more for the second fight? Because he had them situations with the PEDs, and then I think Oscar possibly was getting sued by Golovkin around the time. So money was probably definitely low. And that's when I want to say Eddie Hearn stepped in after that. That's why Oscar was saying, I got you a big deal on the zone fight. Oscar got him a nice deal with the zone. He got him a nice deal. And they got Golovkin paid. I don't know what the original plan was. From what I seen, it looked like they wanted Andrade and Danny Jacobs to get a fight with Canelo around that time. It just didn't happen. I wonder if Golovkin would have fought Andrade around that time. He didn't make it happen, but he definitely could have. I think Andrade was still at 54 or something. Andrade didn't go to 60 until what, 2019, 20? Yeah, I think it was around the time, 2019, 20. When did Andre go to let me see. Yeah, he went to 60 at, damn, Andre was at 60 at 2017. Dang. So he was at 160. 17, 18, 19, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, he was at 19 for, I mean, he was at 160. Yeah, Golovkin ducked him. He didn't want to fight him. That's crazy. Canelo got 12 million. Just that fast off Floyd. I guess after he fought Mosley and Lopez. Hey, Floyd was kind of, you know, Floyd was taking a risk around that time fighting him though. Even though he was young. You know, those guys, Mosley and Lopez, was not in the best situation at that time, but definitely was a tough fight still. But Mosley was 40 years old, like you said, man. Mosley was not the same as he was. After that Pacquiao fight, everybody know Mosley was not the same fighter. Yeah, it might be with pay-per-view. Yeah, I think he got some shares off of it. That fight was huge, though. I'm not gonna lie, Al. That fight was huge. When I look at it now, I was like, man, that fight was huge. That was a very big fight. I don't know if many fights before that. If I go back and look, yeah, I gotta give Canelo credit. He had a name around that time. His name was buzzing. Let me see how many bigger fights. I know he had. Ricky Hatton was a huge fight. Marquez, Mosley, Victor Ortiz. I would say Canelo's fights were bigger than everything except, not as far as the views, but as far as the hype. I would say the Marquez, the Hatton, the Mosley. I don't know. The Ortiz and Cotto fights were huge too. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of hard to say. I think after he beat Cotto, he was on another level though. That's when people realized, like, okay, he's beating guys all around. And Mayweather fought Cotto at 54, and Mayweather only weighed 151. That's crazy. He was 3 pounds under when he fought Cotto. Cotto was 54. Oh yeah, let me pull up this old. Yeah, that's the one I was just looking at, Al. Fight age just 18 and oh, he tried to fight him at 18? Dang. All right, I'm about to put that on here. He tried to fight him at 18? Didn't know that. Didn't know that. I wonder whose idea that was, because Oscar was saying recently that he didn't want yeah, you're right. It said 2013 when he was just 23, stepped in the ring with the pound king. Canelo said they offered me to fight when I was 18. They offered me $1 million to fight him. At the time I was earning 100,000 pesos, that's 5,000. I was still getting the bus and I had 3 jobs. Salute to Canelo, man. That man had 3 jobs when he was gonna fight him. Canelo had 3 jobs. Salute to him. He only had $5,000. He was catching the bus, and he had 3 jobs. Oh, okay, Al. My bad. He said, I told Eddie Reynoso it's 1 million and this will help me a lot. Eddie said, you're not going to fight. In a few years, you will receive 10 times that amount. That's what happened. Ooh. Hey, I'm not going to lie to you. I heard something recently. You know what's crazy? Hey, you know what's crazy? Al, that you said that? I just seen Panda. Cause you know Panda got a roll like Eddie Reynoso does. Ooh, Al, good point. Good point, Al. I'm gonna have to use that. I already know why you told me that now. Canelo wanted, he definitely wanted that payday. He definitely wanted that payday. I didn't know he chased it like that. Great point, Al. I didn't know he chased it to the point where he turned down Floyd. Man. This man turned down Floyd Mayweather. Even though he was 18, he turned the fight down. And Eddie Reynoso told him to turn it down. Wow. So he would have been, Floyd would have been 31. He would have beat the brakes off of him then. It would have been worse. He probably would have stopped him. He said you'll receive 10 times that amount in a few years. Yeah, that's kind of what Williams Zepeda and Panda did recently with Shakur Stevenson. Not as far as the money, but he was like, nah. Yeah, I was saying that recently. Yeah, you're right. Hey, that's a good point. I'm gonna have to look that up, dog. Might see a video on this one. Matter of fact, we'll do it now. So Canelo was basically chasing the payday with Floyd. So at 18, he turned down an opportunity to fight for $1 million, and he was only making $5,000 at the time. And they offered to fight. And Oscar, the second, and you know what's crazy? When he was 23, Oscar didn't want him to fight him then. Oscar said he did not want Mayweather to fight Canelo when he was 23. He didn't feel like Canelo was ready. And Canelo was thinking about taking the fight at 18. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm gonna say something else too, Al. That's why sometimes, even though I feel the same way you do, I feel like, are they telling him not to go this way as far as certain fights? Because if he's thinking about fighting Floyd at 18, I don't know, maybe he was desperate for the money. But the fact that he sat back and waited, he was with Oscar De La Hoya, so I'm pretty sure he was taken care of. But the fact that he sat back and waited, but he was ready to get that money. He was definitely chasing the payday. Definitely chasing the payday. That's not a position a lot of guys will take right now. I don't know what Lamont Roach's purse is or anything like that, but you know, I'm pretty sure he's not turning down the opportunity to fight with Tank. And he said he's not getting paid a huge amount of money. I don't think he's getting paid like Berlanga and Munguia or even Canelo when he fought Floyd. And that's why I said Tank Davis, his situation is the face of boxing. Hey, bro, you gotta start paying guys like all these pay-per-view sales. Oh yeah, they definitely want a Canelo payday. What? Man, I seen how much Berlanga done made recently. You gotta think about it. Those guys went from making like probably 500K, $1 million, to now making 12, 13, 15. That's different kind of money. That's why Berlanga ain't trying to rush to get into another fight, because it's different when you can buy whatever you want. And you're still in the middle of your career. You know, he could retire off that money. He's still in the middle of his career, so it's kind of dangerous. That's why when certain people, and that's a good point, Al. That's why with Canelo, he was still hungry after he got that payday. But if he would have got that payday at 18, probably wouldn't have been the same. You know, a lot of guys can't handle that payday when they get it. Not because they're lazy or anything. You're just not used to, you know, that's what you work for your whole life. Once you get it, it's like, okay, what else do I do? Yeah, that's definitely a weird situation. Yeah, that's a good point right there. Yeah, a lot of people don't look at it, man. Shane Mosley, 1.2 for Canelo. Josesito Lopez, 2 million. See, he was still around that same number until he got back to Floyd again. I think they used Mosley and Josesito Lopez as leverage to get that 12 million from Floyd, to say, hey, we just fought Mosley, and you see what we did to him. Pacquiao fought Mosley, we fought him. So they went to the table like, yeah, Floyd, go ahead and, because even the number for Floyd, some people say it was 40 million for Canelo. Another number is 80 million. I don't know. They sold like 2 or 3 million for pay-per-view. So 80 million could be possible, especially with the gate. That place was packed to the roof. I remember the press conference and the crowd and everybody was just amazing. That's the first time I seen Canelo really have a lot of people come to fights. I know Floyd had fights like that before, but Guerrero fight was definitely not that big from what I remember. Yeah, David's different. David different. David he's a guy that he can get paid and go out there and still get the job done. He can definitely get the job done. I wonder if Canelo's gonna ever touch 75 again. The way he's getting paid right now. To see these other numbers though, 15, 7.5, that's kind of weird. Eddie Reynoso told him not to take that payday from Floyd at 18 though. A lot of people wouldn't say that. I've definitely seen Panda and Shakur Stevenson say the same thing recently. Not Shakur Stevenson, but Zepeda for Shakur Stevenson. Not as far as the payday, but as far as just waiting. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Canelo definitely chased that payday. That's why I say he got to give guys opportunities to do that. He doesn't really have a young fighter who's gonna be able to dominate for the next 10 years like how he did after Floyd. So he needs to put a guy in that position. Benavidez is gonna be the one unless Morrell steps in. He said they fight like 2 times a year, and like Berlanga, yeah, it's like 8 years worth of fighting. He didn't expect that probably when he negotiated, because Berlanga knew ahead of time, like 8 or 9 months ahead. No, I'll say 12 months ahead, he knew that he could possibly fight Canelo. That's why a lot of the things he was doing as far as the build up with Morrell, face-offs and stuff, Caleb Plant, it was never serious. Because Caleb Plant, he wanted to fight Berlanga as well. He was calling him out a lot. Yeah, the sponsors and the pay-per-views. And you know Berlanga was getting a lot of sponsorship, especially with that Mexican and Puerto Rico rivalry. That's the biggest rivalry fight they've had in a while. Yeah, he probably got a lot of people to sponsor. I've seen those guys, they have certain drinks, and I seen Morrell have a lot of, not Morrell, but Berlanga had a lot of sponsorships when he fought Canelo. And that was a huge fight too. Even with that fight being the same night as the UFC event. Cause you know UFC had a Mexican theme. They both fought on Mexican, I think it was Mexican Independence Day. So those guys got a lot to just be a sponsorship. Even when if Canelo and Crawford fight, the sponsors for that fight is gonna be insane. Yeah, the jewelers too. The jewelers too. Hey, that's a good point. The jewelers too. He was doing a lot of interviews and stuff leading up to that fight. But the jewelers too. I know they're gonna pay Canelo a lot to sponsorship versus Crawford. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. But I don't know if this resume is gonna be holding up over time, man. To be honest with you. I felt like Golovkin ain't hold up his end of the bargain when it came to the resume for Canelo. Canelo took a big risk, but I didn't feel like Golovkin took a big risk like Canelo did going up to fight him. And that's why Canelo has, people feel like he has a lot of work to do. And he fought Charlo recently. But he's getting paid right now. 25 for Cullen Smith. I can't believe he got 35 for Yildirim. I think when he got paid 35 for Yildirim, that's when the problem started to happen. I think the Yildirim fight is when things started to get a lot more serious. He got 38 for Bivol. If you go back and look at that Bivol fight, it wasn't really a lot of people in there. 65 for Triple G3 was crazy. They did sell a lot. It was a lot of people at that fight. But the Bivol fight wasn't too many people. John Ryder, 38 million. That's a good number. I'm pretty sure when he fought Charlo, he got a lot as far as the gate and everything else. So that 18 definitely probably added up to 30 plus. But man, if you look at how much he's gotten paid over his career, if I was Pacquiao, I'd be like, man, hold on, man. This dude's gotten paid way too much. I wonder what Manny Pacquiao's purses have been. Oh, they got his earnings since 2025. I'm at 2005. My bad. Yeah, Canelo's smoking whatever he's doing. I don't know what he got paid for PBC, but yeah, he's destroying whatever Pacquiao did. Not against Floyd though. He got paid against Floyd. He got paid against Floyd. Pacquiao got 1.7 from Morales, 2 million the second fight, 3 million the third fight. Once he got the Oscar, that 15 million, Oscar was getting guys paid. He got 15 for Claudia. Yeah, that's a good number for around that time. I think that fight was at Cowboy Stadium or something like that. Yeah, I think that fight was in Cowboy Stadium. Yeah, what was that fight? I don't know how I remember all this. I'm not like a super Pacquiao guy, but I don't know how I remember all this. It was at Cowboy Stadium. Oh my God. Okay. All right, I'm doing something now. Yeah, that was in 2010. Man, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, he did a good job, man. Claudia definitely went 12 rounds with him. That was amazing at that time. He had just stopped Miguel Cotto too. Then he fought Margarito. Went 12 rounds with him. I can't believe Shane Mosley went 12 rounds, man. He should just went down, bro. Shane Mosley going 12 rounds with Pacquiao destroyed him. But if you look at what Pacquiao was getting, 25 for Algeria, that's a good number. That was a good number. I think he got some kickback on that one. That Marquez fight, that 30 million, that was a lot of money around that time. What year was that? That was the 2011 one? Hold on, they fought 3 times. 2012. Yeah, that was a lot of money around that time. 30 million. That's a good number. 26 for Bradley. Hold on, the fourth Marquez fight. That's the 2012 one I'm looking at. Okay. Yeah, he only got 23 for the fourth fight. Brandon Rios 18. Yeah, he was getting paid. That Floyd fight though, 120 is that's amazing. He only got 4 million for Jesse Vargas, 10 million for Jeff Horn, and went out there and got robbed. That Lucas Batista fight, he got paid 20 though. Yeah, he made some good money, man. Yeah, Pacquiao definitely made some good money in his career. He definitely did. He was fighting everybody. Pacquiao fought everybody. And this is not his weight class. People got to realize this. This is not Pacquiao's weight class. Like, Pacquiao went to a whole nother weight class and dominated. He fought the best guys at a weight class he wasn't supposed to be at. So when people say, oh, you know, Canelo, he can do what he want because, you know, he's put so much in the sport of boxing. What do you think? What do you think Manny Pacquiao was doing? Really? Yeah, Manny Pacquiao, he wasn't supposed to be at that weight class. You know that? By the time he fought Cotto, I was like, whoa, 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 hold on. I was like, whoa, hold on. I said, this dude finna fight Cotto? I said, nah. No way this guy gonna fight Cotto. And that was in 2009. I said, nah, no way he's gonna fight Cotto. Then when he fought Mosley, I was like, I don't know, Mayweather, I don't know. Cause Mayweather said in 2007, he was like, man, Pacquiao ain't nothing. Around 2011, I was like, nah, I don't know, man. This guy's a real deal right now. But even though the McGregor fight sold more, I definitely would say the biggest fight I've seen is the Mayweather versus Pacquiao. It was so many people on the road. I've never seen that many people driving in the middle of the night. People don't understand that. I have never seen that many people driving at night in my life. That's how big that fight was. That fight was so big, they had everybody driving around. You know, people had to leave and go from people's houses to watch the fight. It was so many people leaving that night. It felt like it was a daytime or something. And that was a Saturday night. We had almost every human being on the road that night, whether they were going home or going to the store or whatever. It was so many people around that night that I was just like, this is insane. And people don't understand how that feels. To be honest with you, the only reason I want to see Crawford and Canelo fight, I want to get that feeling again, like where you just seen the fight that it wasn't like the best performance, but as far as everybody around it was excited and interested in the fight, yeah, it was a huge fight. The McGregor fight, it wasn't that big as far as like on the outside, but it was, you know, across the whole country, across the world, really. That was like a worldwide fight, more so. But as far as in America, that Pacquiao and Floyd fight, that was a worldwide fight too, but just never seen that many people on the road. It wasn't like that in the McGregor fight. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever see that again. Cause you know, we got streaming now. If you put the matchups together though, if you really put the matchups together, they'll sell. It would definitely sell. Like I said, people still pay to go to sporting events and basketball games and UFC fights. People still pay to see these athletes perform. So just gotta give everybody the matchups they want to see. Jesse Vargas, 4 million is crazy though. I don't think Canelo will be doing stuff like that in his career. If he would have got 120 with Floyd, that's what I'm saying. Like Pacquiao has a different mindset than what Canelo has. Canelo wouldn't have taken, even though, you know, Pacquiao probably got more than 4 million on the back end. Yeah, I appreciate that. I never, that right there, when the first time I heard that, actually, I made a video about it when I first started my channel. The first time I actually heard it was from Tom Loeffler, the guy who was the promoter for Triple G. I first heard him say that 2023, right before Benavidez fought Andre. They was asking him about Triple G. I mean, not Triple G, but when Benavidez was gonna fight Andre, they was asking about Triple G, and they said, what is Triple G gonna do next? And he was like, Triple G can do whatever he wants. And I dropped the video and I was like, what? He can do whatever he wants. I was like, I'm not a guy who been watching boxing for 50 years, but I've never heard somebody say that a boxer can do whatever he wants. I said, Mike Tyson can't even do whatever he wants. And he just sold like 1.2 million. I was 1.5 or something like that. I'm like, what? I was like, nah, that doesn't sound right. That just blew my mind when they said that. And then another thing, Al, I never heard people call Pacquiao the face of boxing. I never heard anybody call Pacquiao the face of boxing. The fact that Manny Pacquiao was never called the face of boxing, and now that we have Tank and Canelo in the sport, and the media can say, yeah, you know, Canelo and Tank is the face of boxing, but they never said that Pacquiao and Mayweather was the face of boxing. They never even said Mayweather was the face of boxing. So sometimes when they say that, I feel like they're trying to sell tickets or promote the fighters. They never said Mayweather can do whatever he wants. They never said that Mayweather was the face of boxing. And look at what Pacquiao did. He did more than any other boxer could possibly do up until this point. And Pacquiao was a smaller guy than Inoue is. But they never said that he could do whatever he wants. So it kind of confused me. I want to see if I still have that picture up that I made. I had made a picture a while ago. It's on the StreamYard. I don't know if they'll let me go in here and pull it up. Let me see. I don't really use StreamYard like that anymore. But let me go in here and see if I can pull this picture up I had made a while ago. Let me see if I can find it. Yo, Colosso. Is Pacquiao. Don't see it. Don't see the picture for Pacquiao. Probably don't have it up here no more. Here it goes. Yeah, I love screenshot. When you can screenshot stuff, it's great. But with Pacquiao, he just doesn't get the credit, you know. If you look at what Pacquiao did, look at this right here. People don't understand that. Now, Manny Pacquiao and Inoue are the same size, same height. But look at this. Look at this up here, Al. They say, a lot of people say that Inoue is a pound for pound #1, #2, #3 guy. And look at the weight that Manny Pacquiao went up. This is from age 31. So Inoue is 32. He's going to turn 32 in March, I want to say. March or April, he turns 32. But if you look at these weight classes, Pacquiao went up from 106 to 147 by the time he was 31. Now, I don't want to. So, Pacquiao at 19. How old Pacquiao is right now? Pacquiao is 46. His first pro fight was, let's see, 30 years ago. So his first pro fight was 16. So when Pacquiao was 16, he was fighting at 106. And I don't know when Inoue became pro. And I seen the media. The media is not slick, bro. If y'all see the media comparing Pacquiao and Inoue, they doing it because I've been doing it. They're not slick. Don't let the views fool you. They definitely be checking out what I be saying. But let me see. 13. So Inoue was 18. So he was 2 years older when he first started fighting. He was 18 and he was at 108. So Pacquiao was at 16 and he was fighting at 106. So by the time Pacquiao was 31, which is not a big difference, it's only 2 years. It's only 2 years. Pacquiao went up from 106 to 147. And people say, well, you know, Inoue 130 is too heavy for him. Hey man, from my standards, he's not that good. No disrespect. And I mean that. No disrespect at all. But the way people talk about Pacquiao, no way. The way people talk about Canelo, no way. They can't hold They can't hold a resume next to Pacquiao. I mean, whether it's the resume, the weight, when people talk about the weight with Canelo, that is an elementary excuse. Oh, well, you know, Canelo, he's fighting at six. What's up, Native Wild Man? When they say Canelo, you know, he's fighting at 68. You know, he's heavy already. He's moved up. Did anybody say that about Pacquiao? We didn't say, hey, Pacquiao, you don't need to fight Tim Bradley because he's a real 47. And, you know, he's bigger. They didn't say that about him. They didn't say that about Cotto. Once Pacquiao fought Cotto, it was a wrap. Once he fought Cotto and Oscar, those conversations was over as far as the weight. Yeah, shout out to Native Wild Man. What's going on, man? I know you're out there in Kansas. They said it's supposed to get cold again next week. They're trying to get us out here. Supposed to snow again next week. I think like Tuesday. But once and Pacquiao will start at 106. So I know they're trying to compare Pacquiao and Inoue right now because I put this little number out last year. They ain't like that. But he can't. Pacquiao was beating the brakes off of these guys, man. He wasn't going in there going 12. Like, people got to realize what Canelo is doing right now, these higher weight classes, that everybody's impressed. Like, well, you know, he went 12 rounds. He's at a higher weight class. Pacquiao's moved up more weight than him. So Pacquiao went up from 106 to 154. Let's see how much weight Canelo has moved up. Because when people say, oh man, with the weight, it's a huge difference. It's not a big difference, man. And I'm gonna definitely throw one. So he started at 140. And he went up to 75, which is a lot of weight. That's nothing to sniff at. It's not a joke. Yeah, man, let's get, this weather is ridiculous, bro. This weather, it's been cold. It's been cold since November. This is ridiculous. Yeah, that's not nothing to sniff at. Canelo fight from 140 to 75. That's not a joke. But I'm gonna just put this there. I'm gonna stick to 168 only for this reason. He didn't want to deal with Benavidez at 68, so I'm sticking to 68. So I'm gonna say 28 pounds right now. But it is 35 pounds that Canelo went up. Yeah, hey, Native Wild Man. Once I seen Roy Jones growing up, cause my brother used to always say, hey, that guy Roy Jones, he the real deal. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, even though I was a kid at that time, I wasn't really blown away by Roy Jones until I seen him like 2 or 3 times. After that, I was like, whoa, this dude is ridiculous. And then later on, when he started fighting all the guys like B-Hop and Tarver and all the other guys that he was fighting, I was like, yeah, this guy's ridiculous. He fights anybody. When I seen Roy Jones go to light heavyweight and everything else, I was like, bro, this guy is ridiculous. Like, Canelo has to understand, you're definitely not better than Roy Jones. Like, not the way that Roy Jones is doing things. Matter of fact, since Native Wild Man brought up Roy Jones, let me pull up his resume. That guy was a freak, man. Roy Jones is probably the most underappreciated boxer of all time because what he did actually hurt his career. He's only 5'11". Charlo is bigger than Roy Jones. If you look at the Charlos and stuff right now, like when their careers end, Charlos are going to be bigger than Roy Jones. later on in life, like around this time, the age that Roy Jones is at now. So Roy Jones went up from like 157, 155. I put 155. All the way up. Ooh. Man was tripping. Yeah, 155 to 200 is insane. And we got to realize too, people will say, well, you know, at first he only went up 20 pounds because he was at 55 to 75. You got to look at the names he was fighting. You got to realize, like, Canelo, he skipped a lot of guys like Andre, Charlos the first couple of times. We could throw a couple of other names out there. So he had skipped a lot of names. But when you look at the names that Roy Jones was fighting, man, it was. And then I'm gonna tell you this too. What's crazy about Roy Jones? The second guy he fought on his resume was 9-2. The third guy he fought 16-1. Then he went to 9-12, 12-11, 6-8, 38-20, 27-17. Then he fought a guy who was 0-2. This is all within like 2 years. Roy Jones had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He had 11 fights in 2 years. And these guys had almost 100. They had over 100 wins combined. Close to 200 wins. So the guys that people be fighting now, like the Chizoras and everything, he was already early on fighting those type of guys. This is early in his career. Then he went and fought Jorge Castro, a guy who's 70 wins and 3 losses. Glenn Thomas, everybody know about that fight. Yeah, Percy Harris, he was a dog. Bernard Hopkins back then, we already know. Thomas Tate was a beast. James Toney. Like, look at the names he was fighting. I should get that clip on here with Mike Tyson. Name the names. Yeah, Calzaghe was a dog. I like Calzaghe. Calzaghe was saying some good things recently about boxing. He was like, man, these guys ain't trying to fight each other like they used to. Yeah, Calzaghe is a beast. Calzaghe is a beast. He one of the most respected fighters ever. But he says, like, a lot of these guys don't fight each other like they used to. Montel Griffin. Oh, Mike McCullum, that dude was a beast. Brandon, I seen that guy fight before. Yeah, but Montel Griffin was a problem. Virgil Hill was a problem. Otis Grant was the truth. I like Reggie Johnson, he was good. And David Telesco. It's crazy, they had that fight in Biloxi. They don't do fights out there like that no more. Yeah, Roy Jones was fighting in Florida, Mississippi, New Orleans. He was fighting all in the South. They don't fight down in the South no more like that. They need to fight a lot more down in the South. Yeah, we already know about John Ruiz and all those fights, Tarver. The dude's resume is crazy. Felix Trinidad, Joe Calzaghe. He didn't have to fight Joe Calzaghe. See, like, what people don't realize is Roy Jones fighting Joe Calzaghe is like fighting David Benavidez. Didn't nobody want to fight Joe Calzaghe around that time. Calzaghe had just beat Bernard Hopkins too. And he had beat the brakes off of Jeff Lacey. So a lot of people don't really understand. Nobody wanted to fight Joe Calzaghe around that time. Then you have Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones fight him back to back. Then Roy Jones went out there and fought Jeff Lacey after Jeff Lacey lost to Calzaghe. Yeah, Roy Jones was definitely putting some fights together. Yeah, if you look at all the way down to the end of his resume, he was fighting some dogs. Yeah, Roy Jones was fighting some dogs, man. People don't understand that dude carried the sport of boxing. Like if it wasn't for Roy Jones, who knows if Floyd would have moved up the way he did? Who knows? The way Oscar and Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones and those guys were jumping weight classes, fighting Joe Calzaghe, they raised the standard of boxing. If it wasn't for Roy Jones, it wouldn't have been a Floyd Mayweather. If it wasn't for Roy Jones, it wouldn't have been a Manny Pacquiao. If it wouldn't have been an Oscar De La Hoya, it wouldn't have been none of these guys. So I think Oscar De La Hoya is the most important piece out of any of those boxers. Because Oscar could have easily said, you know what, I got a Mexican fan base. I ain't gotta fight nobody. I can do what I want. That's what Canelo don't understand. Like, Oscar went out and put Canelo in this position. And the best that Canelo could do was, you know, act like Oscar ain't did nothing for him. Which is kind of crazy. You'll never see somebody like Manny Pacquiao say, man, Freddie Roach ain't doing nothing for me. Freddie Roach has definitely wanted him to retire a couple of times. But you know, Pacquiao has that old man mentality. When I was growing up, most of the boxers was fighting till they was like 50, 40 years old. Now guys get to 35 and they're like, man, I'm thinking about retiring. I'm not the same. Roy Jones just retired recently. When you're a fighter, man, that's what you're supposed to do. Just like Bernard Hopkins getting knocked out the ring his last fight. He was a fighter though. Man had 60-something fights, and look at his resume. The man's last fight was Joe Smith Jr. And he went 12 rounds with Kovalev when Kovalev was Kovalev. He fought Kovalev when he was Kovalev. Tavares Cloud, like Chad Dawson twice. Gene Pascal twice. Like, come on, man. This dude fought with Kelly Pavlik after he fought Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, Bernard Hopkins is in my top 5. My personal top 5, absolutely. I wouldn't know how to score a fight if it went for Bernard Hopkins, so. Cause you know, Bernard Hopkins doesn't have the style where it's easy to break down his fights. So he helped me break down fights as far as looking at his fights. Dude was a problem though. Yeah, Larry Holmes is the best I've seen as far as just going out there fighting anybody at any time. Yeah, Larry Holmes was a problem. Yeah, they don't give Larry Holmes his credit like that as far as for heavyweights. Larry Holmes started making these guys box a little bit more too. And he was a tall guy. He just had his birthday recently too. I didn't know Larry Holmes was from he was born in Georgia. Wow. Okay. He from Easton, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Easton. I got some people out there. I didn't know he was from Georgia though. Wow. Yeah, Larry Holmes was a problem, man. Yeah, I had seen that fight where he had with Butterbean. He put them hands on Butterbean. He was old then. Yeah, man, the man fought Oliver McCall. Like, He was fighting everybody. Oliver McCall, he a dog too. Yeah, Oliver McCall was a dog. Fought Evander, Ray Mercer. Yeah, we already know he's fought Spinks and Mike. Yeah, Tim Witherspoon was a beast too. And Jerry Cooney. Jerry Cooney was he was a good fighter. Kind of remind you of, I don't know, I wouldn't say like, probably like a Paulie Malignaggi back then, I want to say. You know, Paulie ain't no bum. Paulie ain't no bum. And you got Ken Norton out of the first round. Yeah, the 90s and the 80s, man, when it came to boxing, everybody was a star back then. That's what they don't understand, man. Like Larry Holmes, he was in an era where he wasn't supposed to be as big as he was, but he made a name for himself. And he went out there and performed at a high level. Yeah, he got robbed against Spinks. I think so. Yeah, I didn't like that. I think when he fought Spinks, I think that was the first time I seen Spinks. You know, that was past my time, but when I seen him fight Spinks, that was the first time I had seen Larry Holmes. Especially that second fight. That second fight, he got robbed. He got robbed that second fight. And then, you know, after that, they had Mike come out there and do what he did, but that's when Larry started putting on that weight after that. After he fought Mike, he started putting on more weight. But yeah, 245, if Larry would have been like 245, 255 his whole career, he would have been Ken Norton is a problem. What? Yeah, that was like when I might have been like, I was still a kid then. Yeah, but Ken Norton was a problem. Yeah, Ken Norton was a problem. He definitely one of the best I've seen. Man, I miss 80s boxing. That's why I used to love ESPN Classic. They used to put on those old boxing matches. That's all I used to watch. To be honest with you, when I grew up watching boxing, I never watched like the current boxing that much. When they was playing like not Roy Jones. I watched Roy Jones, but when they had all those fights in the 90s, I was watching a lot of those 80s fights already. Fights I liked to watch was 80s and early 90s. The 2000s was good too though. But now it's so much business in boxing right now. That's why you have guys like Turkey Al Sheik in the sport right now, trying to get things back to the way it used to be. Yeah, I think he would have too. Him and Mike was close in weight too. I think Mike had a hard time with those guys who was like a lot more heavier than him. The guys that was like 240. Guys around that weight class, Mike had a hard time with. I know Buster Douglas wasn't like a huge 240 guy. Frank Bruno, he was only like 228. When he fought Spinks, Spinks was only like 212. But yeah, Mike was getting guys up out of there. But Evander, what's crazy about Evander didn't weigh that much, but man, he looked like he was huge back then. I used to think Evander was like 250. But people don't realize that Evander and Mike was the same size. And Mike couldn't do nothing with him. Evander was just too much. Yeah, I remember when he fought Andrew Galata, I was like, man, what is he doing? That was the biggest waste of time ever. When Mike fought Andrew Galata, I was like, I know every fight ain't gonna be like this, is it? They ain't want that fight to count at all. Yeah, it is, man, because you know why I think it is? It's a joke, Native Wild Man, because they wait so long for these guys to fight each other. A lot of these other guys, they wouldn't have waited that long. Like Larry Holmes wasn't gonna wait till he was 38 or 36 to fight Joshua or Fury or something like that. Now he would fight a younger guy, like you know how he fought Mike. But like his first big name, nah, he wasn't gonna wait that long. They try to build fights up too much. They don't understand that in the 90s and 2000s, even 80s, 70s, those guys got big names by fighting twice. You know, if it was a good fight, then the second fight would be a build-up fight. You know, they would use the first fight to promote the second fight. That's why they lose a lot of money these days. They build a fight up so much, and then it's not worth watching. I was trying to tell people that when Golovkin and Canelo was fighting, I was like, these are good fights, but I don't think people understand that certain trilogies are a lot better. Like when Golovkin fought Derevyanchenko, a lot of people like that fight a lot more than most of his fights he had. Like when he fought Danny Jacobs. Like you see how not Canelo, but Pacquiao was doing. Yeah, he did. He did. Buster Douglas when, you know, he had that one fight. I didn't know he lost his mom back then. Before that fight, so that definitely made sense, but I don't think his heart was in it like that around that time. Boxing was tough too. Guys wasn't getting paid the same way they were now. And Buster would have got paid the way they getting paid now, yeah. If he was getting paid like they get paid now, he would have definitely hung around for the long haul. They just weren't getting paid like that. And then Mike being out so long with that jail sentence, that kind of slowed things down in the heavyweight division. He was gone for 4 years. Taking 4 years off of Mike's career, that was kind of bad. That was definitely bad. It was a lot of fights that definitely could have happened those 4 years he was out. Yeah, these guys got it easy now, man. They're like, hey man, I need to build this fight up. I don't think that this fight is ready. Like even the Beterbiev and Bivol fight. You could have had that fight already. It would, you know, some of these fights build themselves up. Beterbiev and Bivol and the Usyk and Fury. You know, it depends on the matchup. If the matchup's good enough, it's going to be something you're going to want to see again. There's a lot of fights you can do rematches on. But I think this year, you're going to see so many fights where you're going to be like, man, I would like to see that fight again. But I think they try to force too many trilogies and rematches. You know when a fight is a rematch. Like Bivol and Beterbiev, you know it's a rematch when it needs to happen. I think they do way too much. It's too much talent in boxing these days too to do rematches without it being a real trilogy. Like when Wilder and Fury fought, those trilogies, those were real trilogies. You know, you got your money's worth, good memory, exciting fight. That's something you definitely can force in the sport of boxing. But these other fights, I wasn't really too much impressed as far as rematches. I feel like a lot of times when they do rematches, look at Tyson Fury, he ended up retiring. And I was telling people, I said, man, y'all can't keep having Tyson Fury do these rematches. He's not going to be guaranteed to stick around. I don't know if you heard me say that before, but I was like, man, they can't keep doing these rematches thinking that these guys are going to stick around, because a lot of people say, well, you know, Tyson Fury just needs the money. Yeah, but everybody doesn't like the money as far as just taking the fight for that reason. Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. I think by that time, Holyfield adjusted. And you know, he had that grown man strength. Holyfield was already at that level at that point where it was like, nah. And Mike was rusty. Mike was super rusty by then. He was so rusty. I think by the time he got out of jail, he pulled up a little, you know, he was smoking weed and everything around that time, doing drugs. By the time he got out of jail, his mind wasn't the same as it was before he went in. Yeah, Mike wasn't the guy who was doing a lot of that stuff, you know, smoking and everything. He was, you know, he probably was messing around with it, but when he got out of jail, he was self-medicated way too much. That's what people got to realize. Even Mike said when he went to certain fights, he was on drugs going into the fight, like all the way messed up. Yeah, his style was different when he got out. His style was way different when he got out. And he started fighting bigger guys later in his career. The heavyweight started getting bigger. That became a huge issue for him. I think it's a lot of, even when he fought McBride, you know, McBride wasn't a super tough, well, he was a tough boxer, but he wasn't like a super talented boxer, but you know, he was getting it done. Yeah, I seen that too. I was like, when he was acting weird, I was like, man, Tyson Fury's not joking around or nothing. I knew he was gonna lose really when he said he's not gonna clown around this time. I said, why are you clowning around in the undisputed fight? Oh no, he's gonna lose. But yeah, that's all I gotta talk about tonight though. I gotta get up out of here, man. I ain't wanna be on here too long. Appreciate that for coming through though, Native Wild Man, man. I appreciate you for coming through, having a conversation with me. I gotta get up out of here. But I'm gonna holler at you on the next live, man. Appreciate everybody for coming through, hitting the like button, out of pal, everybody came through. Appreciate you for coming through, Native Wild Man. I'm gonna holler at you again tomorrow, man. If I